Since I've launched the graphic design course, Adobe's actually made some changes that affects this tutorial that you're watching. So what I want to do is two things. First, I want to show you the difference, specifically the select and mask options that they've now added. And I also want to show you where to find all of the changes that Adobe has made and how to stay current with that. So the first things first is let's jump over here to this Creative Cloud icon, and we can click on apps, and we can see all the different applications we have installed. We can see which version we have. So this one that I've updated or upgraded to is 2015.5. We can click on View Tutorials, which will launch your browser and bring you here to the Adobe Photoshop landing page. We can click on the What's New, and that's going to bring you to this page where you can see chronologically all the changes that have happened. So there's a lot of really cool things you definitely need to check out, but specifically what I want to show you is the selection and masking space. So if I click on See How It Works, you can actually check out this page, and there's a much more in-depth tutorial if you want to learn all the bells and whistles. But what I want to show you is for some of you who have the older applications, older software, if you go to refine your mask in your selection, when I have I'm just hit the letter M, and I've got my rectangular marquee, which in my options bar is going to bring up the select and mask option. Now on the older versions of Photoshop, you'll probably still see the refine edge if you haven't upgraded yet. So I've kind of shown you how to do that in the last video. Now what I want to show you is the new select and mask space. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on select and mask, and it opens up kind of a new window where we've got some options down the left hand side. We've got this brush here where we can add more to our selection. We've got this brush below where we can refine our selection, and then a few other options which honestly I haven't had to use too much yet. So what I want to show you what's really powerful is over here in the view mode, we have this onion skin mode, and they still have the other options that we had in the refine mask where we could put the layer on black or white and really get a feel for what's going on. But this onion skin mode is great because you can see the layers below, and I can control the transparency as well. I can scrub it to the left, or I can scrub it all the way to the right to control what I'm seeing. So right now it's 100% opaque, so I'm seeing my selection and I'm not really seeing anything else. I'm not really seeing the blend, but I can back this off just a little bit, and I'll notice that I'm actually missing a little bit of the hair here, which I wouldn't have noticed if I was just looking at the 100% mask. So I'm going to dial that down a little bit. I'm going to come up here and choose my quick selection brush, and I can just basically click just once right in there, click once right in there, and it pretty much does a good job of adding in that piece that I missed. Now the next thing I want to do is jump over here and click my refine brush, and it's gotten a lot better in this refine selection, or this select and mask box. So as I click and drag, Photoshop does an incredible job of finding all these little stray hairs, and I'll just kind of click a couple times, drag over here, click and drag over here, maybe a little bit down here. And if I accidentally get too much across the top of his head right here, those white highlights blow out and actually looks like it's transparent. But really we know that that shouldn't be. So what I'm gonna do is hit the Alt key and then kind of brush over that a little bit. And again, I'm using the refine brush tool over here. And then if I drag this back up to 100%, you can see I've got a really good selection. There's still a couple pieces down here if I wanted to be really picky about it, but I can refine that a little bit more. And then once I've got it just how I want it, I can come back over here, and if I need to, now right now I'm using an image, I'm kind of cheating because the hair is on already a pretty light background, so it makes it pretty easy. But if you've got a difficult background, you can use some of these options to get a better selection. So whether you need to smooth it out, maybe feather it a little bit, or even add a lot of contrast, that might help get a better selection against whatever background you have. Or you can even shift the edge. If I scrub this all the way to the left, you can see that it sucks that image, that selection in, or if I scrub all the way to the right, it really blows it out and gives it a lot more space around my selection. But I found that Photoshop does a really good job right out of the box with the default settings for most images. So these options are there to play with, but again, I would start with just the defaults and see how it does. Now once you've got that just how you want it, if you just see this right here, output settings, we can click the little twirl down arrow and we can control exactly how this is going to be exporting our layer. You might need to click on decontaminate colors. Now where this would come in handy, in this case I've got a black and white photo, so I really don't need to use it too much, but it did clean up this hair a little bit. So I had a little bit of white coming through, and let's say this was shot on a green screen, or in some other setting maybe there's a red light and there's some color cast onto the edges here. If I click the decontaminate colors, it'll help really knock out those edges in a way that you won't have that issue. It does a pretty good job with that. Now, once you've done that, we'll go ahead and click on how you want to spit this out. Now, I typically would just leave this as, well, now that I click decontaminate colors, I don't have the option to keep it as a layer mask, which is typically how I would keep it. Since I click on that, it's grayed that out. I'm just going to make a new layer with my mask. And the reason why, let me go ahead and click OK, is because Photoshop has actually adjusted the colors around the edge of this photo. So it's actually manipulated the photo, and it saves the original just in case I'm not happy with it, if I ever need to go back to it. So anyway, I hope that helps, and I hope that clears some things up for you. I just want to take the time real quick to say thank you so much for signing up for this course. I hope you're learning a ton, and I'm going to do my best to keep this updated and as current as possible. If you ever come across any other changes like this that Adobe has made, please let me know. Feel free to hit me up on the Q&A or direct message through the Udemy platform. I try to get back to everybody within 24 hours when I can. Again, I just thank you so much for taking the time to join this class, and let me know if you have questions or if you need any help, or especially if anything has changed. All right, good luck, and here we go.